Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 4th of December, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar. Dollar is just in the last few days really been seesawing quite a bit. It is looking like it might just make this bullish transition on the medium-term cloud chart, finding support around this 92.50 level. We do have these downside targets on the short-term chart hanging over us, but we are finding support both on the medium and potentially on the long-term chart and the point and figure chart. So the dollar may just well be making that transition. Hard to call at the moment. Euro, much the same. It's euro dollar looking a little bit weaker, finding resistance here on the cloud. So again, we may be making a transition to the downside. Could mean we're seeing the months ahead with a stronger dollar, a weaker euro, but it's still a bit early to call. Looking at the Japanese yen, the dollar looks very strong here, bullish above the cloud on all three time frames, so weaker yen there. Sterling did touch 135.50 at one point on Friday, but we are just coming back a little bit. We're still bullish above the cloud. A lot of political effects there with the Brexit negotiations at the moment. Still looking fairly bullish against the Swiss franc in the short term and against the Australian dollar, against the euro, sorry, and then the Swiss franc as well, just coming back below, and against the Australian dollar just falling away a bit. Bitcoin, of course, is the one that's creating a lot of news at the moment, and more people are asking me to comment on Bitcoin. We are still going higher, so we're seeing we have been higher than the levels that we saw last week, so that's showing up as the weekly candle last week, and then we've got a new candle developing for this week that's even higher still, so no real signs yet to an end. Keep an eye on the 1 minute chart. Remember, just press the T key on your Updata system. The 1 minute chart, we've got the 10 by 3 chart here on 1 minute, and we're seeing 1180, so that's another 2% upside on Bitcoin. Of course, 2% in a day is nothing on Bitcoin. We're up 5% this morning, so it really is very, very volatile indeed, but that's the picture for the very short term. Taking a look at the US market, S&P moved higher. Another good week. We see that in the weekly candle here. The NatGas also held up in the end. We had a couple of big selling days on Wednesday and Friday, but we are just looking a little bit more bearish on the NatGas, but still holding up on the medium and long-term charts. The Dow still looking bullish. We had again a sell-off on Friday, but it recovered most of that by the close of the session on the announcement of the tax cuts. And the Russell 2000 also recovering a lot of its opening losses on Friday as well. The future up 0.5% this morning on the S&P 500 future, so it looks like the US market will open stronger. And the Nasdaq E-mini up 1/3%, looking bullish again. So US markets look set to open higher. The FTSE 100 is recovering a little bit this morning, but still bearish in the short term, and the medium term is not looking great either. And the FTSE 250 still looking a little bit weaker. Stronger sterling having a little bit of an impact there as well. The DAX still looking bearish on the short-term chart, and the Nikkei has actually come back into bull territory on the short-term chart. So bullish on all three time frames on that weaker yen. Hang Seng is looking a little bit bearish just below the cloud on the short term, and Shanghai has pretty much been in the doldrums now for a couple of weeks. China just selling off. So the key thing is we're just testing cloud support on the price. You just need to keep an eye on the Chinese market. The Indian stock market Sensex falling away quite heavily the last few days, putting it into bearish territory, and the Australian market actually looking bullish on all three time frames, although it has underperformed really over the past year. Brent crude sitting at 63.30, just struggling to get past that $64 and hold it. We saw that on Friday on the OPEC announcement, but coming back a little bit now, and the same with WTI, just pulling back a little bit, but still bullish in the short term. US NatGas holding the $3 level, so looking a little bit better and bullish on all three time frames, but really not trending very clearly. Copper looking like it's about to make a transition through the cloud into better territory as well. Taking a look at gold, gold really has fallen a bit away the last week or so. We're back at this sort of 1270s area. New downside targets here. This big one, not yet activated though, but we're still bullish in the long-term charts. The medium term just turning a little bit bearish, but the long and short term looking great. and the sorry, the short term not looking great, but the long term looking good. Looking at silver, we're bearish here as well, and the clouds are really breaking down there on precious metals. Stronger dollar may well have an impact there as well. U.S. Treasury yields sitting at 2.39%. They were as high as 2.42% in the yield last week, and Apple just still a little bit bearish, having recovered some on Friday. Google actually looking bearish on the short term as well. Amazon holding on, looking better than the others, and Facebook also looking a bit bearish back into the mid 170s. Microsoft actually looking stronger as well. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.